Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. So today I am with Angel. She is my beautiful daughter guinea pig, and she lives with my parents because she used to be diabetic and I can inject her. And last January, so over a year ago now, she recovered from diabetes. But she still lives with my parents, and she recently had cystitis. And so we've been to the vet today for a checkup, and she's looking good. She's got 2 more days left of antibiotics, today and tomorrow, and then she should be okay. So this is really good news. So this video, me and Angel want to talk about love without sex. So obviously you can love lots of different people in different ways, and you can of course love your pets, right? We love our pets, and obviously there's usually should be no sexual stuff involved, right? It's pure love, and it's just love without sex. You know, you just love your pet and you love them without sex or any stuff like that, you know. And this is a type of love without sex. You can love your family and your relations without sex, right? So why is it that when we have a relationship, as in a romantic relationship, it then becomes society's norms to start including sex? And a lot of people in society think if you're not having sex, it's not a real relationship, it's a friendship, right? But let me ask you this: do you behave in a relationship even without sex how you behave with your family and friends? Is it the same type of love? It may not be the same type of love, right? But it doesn't mean to say it has to incorporate sex, because sex is something we choose to have or choose not to have. Love is a feeling in and of itself, right, Angel? And love is a feeling in and of itself, right? So love is a feeling between 2 people. It's a very special bond, and obviously it can be more people if you are like polyamorous person. But hi, beautiful Sandra, you are lovely, you are a loving, lovable, beautiful person. Oh, thank you, Liam, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's nice to see you. Angel says hello too. And yeah, and so, you know, there's lots of different things we can love without sex. Like I said, our pets, our family, our relations, and our friends, right? But why is it when we get into a relationship, it's assumed that we should be having sex, right? And sex is something you can choose to have or not have, like I said. So how you can love with someone without sex is by choosing to love them without having it, right? And without making that a prerequisite for loving them, right? So without having to have that as a stipulation in order to love them. In fact, people don't necessarily love someone they have sex with, right? There's lots of people that have sex that don't love the person they have sex with. And this is how we know conclusively that love and sex are not the same thing. Because there's people out there that have one night stands, that have sex just for a night with someone, and they have no attachment to that person. Love is usually attachment to someone. Hello, Angel. There are 2 angels here. Oh, isn't that sweet? Thank you, Liam. That's a lovely thing to say. That's a lovely thing to say. Me and Angel have a very romantic song together, which is called Angel. You know, like they sing that, we sing the Celine Dion and R. Kelly, You're My Angel song. I sing that to her, you know, makes her happy. And anyway, so I digress. But yeah, so love and sex are 2 different things. And people who love each other can choose to have sex, or they can choose not to have sex. So how you love someone without sex is by choosing not to have it, right? And you've got to understand the difference between sex drive and actual sexual attraction and love, right? Love is a feeling, is a bond, is a connection, usually an emotional connection and attachment to a specific person or people. And it, you know, when it's got romance involved in it as well, you usually want to do things like kissing and cuddling and holding hands, right? And if you think back to when you were much younger, you'll probably discover there were people who you maybe not so much if you're asexual, but if you're not asexual, for example, you'll probably recognize there are people that you had attraction to as a teenager that you never had any interest in having sex with. For those of you who are romantic asexuals, you'll probably find that you did actually have attractions, like maybe crushes, I don't get crushes, or fancy someone, or even have love feelings for someone when you were a teenager, right? But there's going to be relationships at that age where sex wasn't involved, and it wasn't necessary to have sex to still have an exciting and adventurous and fun relationship, right? It's only when we get to this adulthood that society expects us to change. And because then babies come into the equation, and obviously the natural way to have babies is through sexual intercourse, right? But just because you have sexual intercourse for babies doesn't mean to say it has to be the norm for an actual relationship, right? There are lots of ways you can love someone without having sex and express love. You can show your gratitude towards them. You can show you respect them. You can show the person that you love them by buying them gifts or doing them acts of service or by giving them praise. There's so many different ways you can show someone you love someone. You know, you can show someone just by the way you talk to them, just by the way you make that person feel special and wanted and needed, and like you can be a best friend to someone. It's very hurtful when people just assume you classed as friends if you don't have sex, right? Sex is just genitalia that can be mixed together or not mixed together, right? But you don't need to mix each other's genitalia together to love each other. There are plenty of people that do have long distance relationships in the world, especially with COVID, right? A lot of people, they had to be distant from each other, never had any feelings or crushes. Yeah, I think for aromantic asexuals, those who lack romantic attraction and sexual attraction, it's probably quite normal a lot of the time for them not, for you and other aromantics, not to fancy someone or have attraction. But aromantic asexuals can have, for example, aesthetic attraction. So it is a myth that aromantics can't experience any attraction. You know, some do have, like I said, aesthetic attraction, but others don't really have attractions, and that's okay too, right? But you can still have a queer platonic relationship. You can still love someone in a different way to your family or to your friends, and you know, it's just a different feeling that you feel. And so you can still be in a relationship even if you're aromantic, you know, but you can have a relationship without the romance, right? And similarly, you know, someone who's asexual can choose to have sex if they wish to, but this video is about how to love someone without sex. And there is evidence that, you know, people can spend months apart. And like with COVID, if people did live in different countries and had a relationship, they can't just go fly over and see them because obviously there's been a lot of restrictions. And it doesn't mean to say that just because they're not having sex with each other, because they can't see each other, they don't love each other. It just means they can't have sex. And if they've got a drive for sex, obviously that might be very difficult for them because they might feel that urge and they might feel, oh my gosh, I need to satisfy it. And they'd rather satisfy that with some, you know, the person they're with rather than someone else. But obviously there's masturbation and other things like that you can do, or you can just try and like use that energy to plow into other things like hobbies and interests and just divert that energy into some other things. You don't have to act on that energy, right? That sexual drive energy, right? Some asexuals have a drive, sex drive they like to call it, but it's not aimed at anyone. Some get aroused, but it's not aimed at anyone, which is the main difference between asexuals and sexuals, is that, you know, if we get aroused, it doesn't usually make us want to do anything with someone unless we're on the very, very sexual end of the asexual spectrum. So for example, the grey end of the asexual spectrum, but even then not all grey asexuals want to act on it, you know, because the definition of grey sexuality is someone who experiences sexual attraction but only infrequently, rarely, or in specific circumstances, or they experience it but not enough to want to act on it. So there are, you know, there are times when there are heterosexual couples and they maybe live together and they're working a lot of hours and they come back late from the office or the job and they don't feel like having sex. There's times when they go out on a day trip, maybe they've got kids, they don't have sex. There's times when they will be apart. They might go off their friends for a weekend trip somewhere. they're not having sex. Well, unless they have an affair, right? So, you know, so there's times in a relationship, in a heterosexual relationship, when they're not having sex all the time. It doesn't stop them loving each other. It just means that they're not having sex for that time. There's still love there. And this is how it is for asexuals, like all the time, for the asexuals that don't want sex, right? You have that time where you still love each other, but you're not having sex. But basically, that's how the relationship is permanently. It's like you love each other, you care about each other, you feel each other, you have that bond and that attachment there, and you feel like you want to spend, you know, like if you want a long-term relationship, you feel like you want to spend the rest of your life with this person, that they make you really happy, you feel special and important to them, you feel like they're your best friend. You may feel a little bit kind of maybe a little bit lonely and lost without them, because you kind of like having them around, you know, and you miss them when they're not there and stuff like that. So, you know, this is how you can have love without sex. You've just got to understand, especially if you're a heterosexual, for example, watching this, that, you know, there are times as a heterosexual person, you're not having sex with your partner all the time. Or you might not even have a partner. You might have been single for years, and you might not have had sex for years, because you might be a person that's not into one night stands and stuff like that. So you might have gone for years without sex, even though you're heterosexual and experience sexual attraction. Right? So you have to understand that that time you're not having sex, but maybe you still love someone. You might be out of a relationship, you might be single, but you might love someone from afar. You might be deeply in love with someone from afar, right? But you still have that love there. You just don't have the sex. Like, two people can love each other even if they're not together, right? Or one person can love someone without the other person reciprocating it, right? These are all types of love without sex. And so when you're in a relationship, you just don't have sex. You find other ways of showing that person you love them. Like I said earlier, giving them gifts, giving them praise, you know, making them feel very special, making them feel like you're their bestest ever friend, making them feel like it's a team effort, instilling trust, right? Love is about putting positive emotions into someone and into a situation. And love is about compassion and caringness and understanding, and about making that person feel good about themselves, and about really caring about them. Right? I know my friends love me. They don't go round telling me they love me, because it's not something really that's done so much with friends, right? But the reason I know they love me is because of the way they care for me, right? Like, if they don't hear from me for quite a while, they'll be like really worried and concerned about me. Like, where's Sandra? I haven't heard from her for hours. She's offline for longer than she normally is. And they'll be aware of my behavior. They're not keeping tracks on me like a bad person. They just like, oh my God, she's been off like for so many hours, and maybe she was a bit upset earlier, and I'm concerned about her. So I want to phone her, want to contact her, I want to make sure she's okay. And they might try my Facebook or my text, and it really means a lot to them. You know, they can't kind of settle until they know I'm okay. That is love. It's when you need to know that the person's okay, when you care about them so much that you just need to hear their voice or to have a message from them, right? Just like me and Angel, you know, I love Angel so much. You know, sometimes I phone my mum and dad up, and they put the phone to Angel, and she does some squeaks for me, don't you, darling? And she'll climb the cage bars and do squeakies over the phone, so that I just get to, you know, at least have some contact with her, because my mum's, you know, is a person who is very vulnerable with COVID situation. So, you know, I have to do COVID tests before I see her, which I don't mind doing. I was a bit reluctant at first, but I got used to them now. But yeah, so you know, so these are all types of love without sex. Love is an expression. It's putting positive emotions, right? And you know, I have one of my friends, Andy, and he you know, loves me in a friendship way. He'll come over and he'll do cleaning for me, because I have fibromyalgia, as you know. I've talked more about it on this channel recently. For years I don't really talk about my disability, but you know, I've talked a lot more in the last year than I have before about mental health and disability, because it does affect me. It's affected me quite a lot in the last year, especially with my ankle break, you know. And there's been stuff that I wished I could have done more, but it's frustrating because I get back pain and other stuff. I don't like to focus on it, because what we focus on expands. If we focus on negative stuff, it brings more negativity to our life. If you focus on pain, it brings more pain. So I don't like to talk about it too much, but I think it's important, because there are other asexuals with disabilities and mental health conditions. I think it's important to raise awareness of that, right? And you know, some disabilities you can't have sex with because it's too painful, it hurts too much and stuff like that, right? So you have to understand that, you know, love is the way you express yourself to that person, the way you make that person feel. Going back to my friend Andy, he, like, even this last week, he was come over and disinfecting my carpets for me because I've had a rat in my home. Not a pet rat, a rat that I didn't wish to be there. So he's been disinfecting my carpets for me, he's been cleaning for me, you know, and he's a guy that doesn't mind cleaning. Well, actually, he identifies as gender fluid more these days, but you know, he doesn't, he goes more by guys most of the time. But yeah, so he doesn't like, you know, like, he doesn't mind cleaning and doesn't mind washing up and cooking and disinfecting and stuff like that. He doesn't mind doing housework. I hate it. Love doesn't always need sex. Why do people think you need sex to love? Exactly, Liam. Exactly. You know, we need to really stop this damaging portrayal of love and sex together. It's just really shocking. It shocks me how many dating coaches, they just focus on, you've got to have a good sex life in order to have a good relationship, you've got to have a good sex life in order to have a good loving relationship. It's absolute load of rubbish, right? Obviously, if one person has a really high sex drive, really wants sex in the relationship, the other person doesn't, that's not going to work. That's not healthy, because one person feels that the other person's missing out, one person feels they're giving more or taking more, and, you know, that is imbalance, right? That is this unhealthy relationship, right? Really healthy relationships are born on mutual attraction, mutual interests, or complementary interests, mutual types of personality. You know, you need to really have the same kind of ideology a lot of the time, the same type of principles and morals, the same type of, like, long-term goals where you see yourself together with each other. You know, all this is part of a healthy relationship. When two people are too different and pulling in different directions, it can be very unhealthy for both people, because you're just too different and you just don't fit with each other. And, you know, you can make each other miserable. So this is why it's so important to get someone for a loving relationship that you can trust. They are not necessarily good coach or character, I think you mean, don't you? Yeah, I mean, yeah, the you know, like, I'm, they're not necessarily good coaches. Yeah, Liam, I mean, I'm like an asexual dating relationships coach. I mean, I teach, like, really good stuff, you know, like, on this channel, as you know. And the majority of dating coaches, you know, out there, apart from me, they're all geared towards sex usually, and having a lot of sex in relationships, and, you know, to make the relationship good. And I just think that really sucks, you know. But then I'm here, so I'm different, you know. And one of my aims is to produce more and more books, dating relationships books, especially for asexuals as well, because it's something I feel I can really help with, and the world can benefit from also, you know. Because it's really important that, you know, that people understand that love without sex really does exist, and, you know, it's super special, you know. And I really hope society in the future separates the two more and more, because they are completely separate, you know. But, you know, if I know my friend Andy loves me in a friendship way, because I know he cares about me, he wants me to be well, he, you know, he'll do things for me, because I'm very independent, don't get me wrong, I like doing stuff myself. But my back, I've been on a waiting list for physio for my back since March last year, and I broke my ankle, as you know, back in April. I'm still seeing physio for my ankle. You know, and I'm finally getting to see physio for my back February this month. That's 11 months I've had to wait, you know. But my back is not good like it used to be, you know. So bending down, it just makes it a lot worse and a lot more pain for a longer period of time. And he doesn't want me to go through that. He wants to save me some pain, you know. And that's what, you know, that's what a person who loves you, even as a friend, will do. Well, he probably is more of a, you know, amazing friend than some people would have as friends, you know. But you know, but even when someone loves you in a relationship, they'll do stuff for you out of acts of kindness, and he doesn't expect anything back, you know. But he knows, he always says to me, you've done a lot for me anyway, it's nice to repay you back for all the help you've given me, because I've helped change his life in lots of ways. He's always telling me that. So he kind of feels like it's really nice for him to give something back to me. I didn't expect anything back. I don't help people for that reason, you know. But yeah, so, but I know he loves me as a friend, because the amount of stuff he does for me, he'll carry shopping for me. And, you know, when I broke my ankle as well, he was here for me, even though he's got mental health problems. And it was hard for him because he's introverted, and he had to come over and do shopping twice a week when I couldn't get out to do shopping for myself. And that's a big struggle for him, because he doesn't like social situations, and and being around people. So it's, it was a big deal for him to do that. But when you love someone, you kind of like, sometimes in dire circumstances like that, you will kind of put the other person first because you care about them so much and their well-being is really important to you. And it was, it's disappointing I couldn't do as much for myself. I'm doing a lot more for myself now, but there's still, my back, I really need physio. I really need to consult with that before I find out what's going on and how to stop the problems I'm getting, because any exercise just makes it worse. It's better to rest actually. So I can do some walkings okay most of the time, and I love dancing, as you know, but I really need my back sorted out, so I don't know if that can do anything actually, or if it's just a bit screwed. But all these things, like like, there's a book called Love Languages. There's like 6 different love languages, and that basically, people have got different ways of expressing, giving and receiving love. It's a really interesting book, and I'm writing some about this in the Asexual Guide to Sex book. I'm talking about this book in there, and briefly about love languages in the book, which I never thought I would end up putting in there, but I think it's really, really relevant, because if people don't understand the other person's love language, then then it can lead to like feeling unloved or rejected or uncared for, because the person isn't expressing love to that person, vice versa, in a way that they'll understand, appreciate and receive and enjoy. So I like praise is one of my top love languages, but that, I don't think that was the main love language. Oh, quality time was my main love language. So I really, really like it when my friends spend quality time with me. Even my friends, it doesn't, like, obviously this is in the love languages, there's a website and it talks about love languages in terms of friendship and love languages in terms of relationship. They're obviously very similar. Like with my friends, I like to spend quality time with my friends. So for example, I like it when they switch their phone off and they just pay me attention when I'm talking, and vice versa, for a period of time. I like it that my best friend, asexual friend Sam, they Skype with me usually once every week for 3 to 4 hours every week. So we have that quality time together with each other. And obviously when I come and see Angel, I like it that I come and see her for a few hours. You're right there, gorgeous. Oh, sorry. I just need to put her up the towel a bit. There we go. Get a bit restless now. You all right? So I like to spend, we've spent a few hours together. We've spent some quality time together, so it's very important. So yeah, that's my main love language. Got quality time and praise, words of affirmation, words like, like obviously like Liam's giving me words of affirmation on this channel, say I'm beautiful and we're both angels and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that. And obviously on this channel, when someone is spending time watching my show like this, we're spending quality time with each other, even though it's online on the show. I really love that. I really appreciate it. So now you know how this YouTube channel really suits my love languages, and why I love all my community here so much, because I'm kind of getting I've only just thought about this. I'm kind of getting my love languages met through my channel, like quality time with the people I love, which are asexuals, and words of praise. I don't always get words of praise. I wish I did, but I don't always, as you know. Some people that are not too friendly, but anyway, I try to just ignore them and get them out of the community as quick as possible. But the majority of people are really nice, very friendly, really kind, really caring, and lovely people, and I'm really grateful for that. So so when you're showing love to someone, there's a whole load of ways you can show you love someone. I feel loved by a guy if he's very dedicated to me, if he specifically, for example, puts on his Facebook that he's in a relationship with me, tells people about me, that he's with me and stuff like that. I'm proud. You are a valuable person, Sandra. I miss people I've never met. Oh, bless you. Lots of love, Liam. Oh, you miss people you've never met. That's because you love and care about them, huh? Well, you can, like some people don't believe you can fall in love over the internet, but you can. There was 2 guys I loved, both of those guys last year. I'm still getting over both of those guys. having love for two people in 1 year, both of them, is very strange. But I obviously have the capability to love two people at once, even though I wasn't interested them in one go, if you know what I mean. One was first and then the other person. But yeah, so I guess I was thinking the other day, maybe I have more than one soulmate in the world, which I didn't used to think before, but maybe I'm changing my mind on that. Mwah, me and Angel are soulmates, aren't we? I can't help but love her. And obviously, you know, if you do like physical touch, there's a lot of different types of physical touch you can do in a relationship without sex. I mean, some people just like, you know, even just a stroke on the arm is showing someone you love someone. Even putting your arms around their neck and holding them tight in a nice way, not grabbing their neck and stuff. You know, even stroking someone's hair shows you love them. You know, putting, you know, like if you're snuggling up on the sofa together, the other person putting their head in your lap, you know, you just stroking their hair, or, you know, stroking their cheek. You know, this is all love. It's not even got anything to do with genitalia. There's a lot of ways you can express love with the upper body. I'm really a fan of the upper body. Right below the waist, I'm not really that interested in. Although I don't mind sitting on a guy's lap in between his legs and stuff like that, on his, you know, yeah. So I'm a bit more like, you know, closer physical contact. But there's a lot of stuff I like with the guy's upper body, you know, like the shoulders. You could give your partner a shoulder massage or a back massage. You know, you could cut. Some guys like combing their partner's hair. I used to love my hair being combed. It's kind of like a bit weird. I once had this guy, really strange guy in Exeter, on the cathedral, foreign guy, Indian actually. He ran an Indian restaurant. I started talking to him on the cathedral green. This is years ago, and he randomly started combing my hair. Now that is weird because it's a stranger doing that, and it's like, why is he stroking my hair? This is creeping me out. But obviously, like, one of my exes, he used to do that. He used to comb my hair and stuff like that. So there's lots of ways, you know. There's like cheek touches, shoulder touches, holding hands, obviously. And obviously there's kissing if you're into kissing, you know, and cuddling. A lot of asexuals are into cuddling without the sex, you know, just cuddling the top part of the person's body and stuff like this. So, you know, there's lots of ways you can show physical affection without the sex, you know. And I personally just love the kind of teenager style relationship where you're just like, you know, you're just like maybe the girl's on top of the guy's lap and she's got her arms around him and she's just kissing him and talking to him. They're sharing, you know, they're talking about movies and they're talking about their dreams together, and they're talking about, you know, like they have like a movie night with popcorn and favorite drinks and sweeties and stuff. Obviously I can only eat certain sweets, sugar-free, wheat-free, gluten-free, blah blah blah. But you know, like when it's just like, you know, sweet innocent stuff, to me that type of love is the best love, isn't it, Angel? Do you agree? So yeah, you know, I think that's a really, really beautiful thing, is to have love without sex. When you love someone on a deep emotional connection, soulmate connection level, you know, you really want to spend time with that person. You want them in your life. But obviously, you know, some people don't appreciate people. Sometimes people have love turn up in their life without the sex even, you know, because the two guys I liked last year, they were both asexual, you know. So you would think, oh, it's an asexual person, they're going to be different, you know, everything's going to work out fine, it's going to be more like a fairy tale. And I think the feeling's more like a fairy tale. I think it's more like pure true love you feel for that person, because you're not thinking about having sex with them. And so I think even if it doesn't work out, even if you're not together, even if things aren't compatible in some way, or just doesn't work, I think the actual feeling is a lot more like a magical fairy tale feeling, in the sense that it's pure love. You know, you've got no genitalia involved there. So I do like that aspect. I mean, I can only imagine, like, when I do find the right asexual guy for me, just imagine what that pure love would be like without the sex, getting the right compatible person. If I've been able to love incompatible asexual guys that weren't right for me, you know, but the feeling was very good in the sense of the love feeling. Obviously, neither of those people were healthy for me personally to be in a relationship with. So, you know, that didn't work out. But if you just take the pure love aspect and the feeling between me and that guy at the time, you know, that is really, really beautiful, you know. And you know, I don't think personally there's anything can beat asexual love. I personally don't think I would get that deep connection with a heterosexual guy. I'm never saying never, because there is a part of me that's really got a lot of grey areas. But I don't think I'd be comfortable with a heterosexual, especially not if there was a heterosexual who didn't understand asexuality. Maybe if there was a heterosexual who was really understanding about asexuality, who really didn't need the sex, who was like, you know, like a very individualist person who can choose his own life himself, choose where to have sex or not, and really wasn't bothered because he just wanted me as a person, you know, maybe then and I truly believed, totally and utterly honest, that he was honest about that, and he didn't want to go off and have sex with other people, then, you know, that might work out. But, you know, like, I keep coming across heterosexual guys that are in, there was one the other day in my inbox interested in me, and he just doesn't understand asexuality at all. He was on about, I was going to do a video about this separately actually, but he was on about ovulation, like when you ovulate, like, how do you resist the urge to have sex? Asexuality's got nothing to do with it if you're ovulating or not. You know what I mean? This guy's crazy. Some of the stupid stuff sexuals come out with. It's like, you know, it doesn't matter what time of the month it is. I don't have any sexual attraction. I have no need, desire, urge, or want for sex with anyone at all. If I did, it would be with guys, because I'm only attracted to guys. But I just don't get that, you know. And even if I get aroused, it doesn't make me want to act on it with the guy. It doesn't lead to that. And sometimes I kiss a guy now, I don't even feel aroused, you know. So, which is fine. It's a bit weird for me because I'm not used to that from the past, but it's fine, you know. And so, you know, because I can still enjoy the kisses. But, you know, like, just imagine, like, when I do find the right asexual guy in the future for me, just imagine like how that would be, like if it was a healthy relationship, who a guy I totally trusted, who was my best friend and my soulmate, who was very reliable and could give me the security and reliability and strength that I need in a guy, you know, and the honesty, the pure honesty. I want a guy who just can't lie about anything, not even a minute thing. Just can't do it. It's just physically impossible. Can't lie on his profile, can't lie to his friends, can't lie to me, can't lie full stop. There's very few people in the world that can't lie about anything. Very few people. I know this even from friends I've had. Even some friends I've had that I've valued as best friends in the past, or close friends, or maybe even now. You know, they may not be 100% honest all the time. There might be some tiny little thing they're not. But I know the truth usually, or the truth comes out to me in the end. But it's kind of like, but you said that, so that wasn't actually correct, you know. But I know, for example, my best friend Sam is 100% honest, like I am. So that's why I trust them more than anyone in the world, because they are 100% honest, like 100%. My parents are very honest as well, which I'm grateful for, you know. So it's very, very important to have a really honest person. I want a guy who won't lie about anything, not his age, not where he lives, not his jobs he has, nothing. No little tiny lie. And I hate guys who are like chameleons. Watch out for these people that are like chameleons. Chameleon is a guy or person, it doesn't have to be a guy. I refer to guys all the time because I'm only attracted to guys, who specifically change the way they speak due to the person in front of them, right? And so they will try and use words and phrases and emojis to get their own way and to get a result that they want. So, for example, with a woman, asexual woman, for example, if it's an aromantic asexual, they usually know that women they talk to are not going to be interested in hearts and kisses and anything romantic, right? So they usually would find out, how is this person aromantic? Are they romantic or aromantic, right? If they want something. And if the person's aromantic, they know, well, it doesn't matter what I say to this person or how much romance I put in there, this person's not going to be emotionally affected by that, right? You, for example, this is how asexuals can manipulate other asexuals. Very interesting psychology. So then they will get a person who's romantic. It doesn't have to be an asexual, but I just know some asexuals who have done this, or one in particular. And, you know, and they will literally find out that the person is asexual romantic. And then once they found that out, they'll start changing their language. They'll start saying the words in a more sweet, enticing, romantic way. They'll start putting kisses on the text and maybe little love hearts or love emojis. And this is how they try and get around romantic people. It's very difficult when you're romantic because you do have your heartstrings pulled a lot more. You do tend to have more emotional connection and attachment. You do tend to get affected more by these things because they're like triggers. They're like someone does something, it triggers something in you. If you're naturally romantic person, it will trigger romance in you, especially if you're attracted to that person in any way at all. But even like, I've known guys that, they will get around women. If they want to get their own way, they will start going, oh, well, and they'll be more submissive to them as well on purpose, And so you've got to really watch out for these guys because they are very, very manipulators, but they come across as very sweet and innocent. You wouldn't think like little kissing emojis, little heart emojis, anything of it. You'd think, oh, that's really sweet, nice, romantic. Oh, that person's a really nice guy. But you have to understand the context they're doing it in and why they're doing it. If it's to do with getting their own way, they change that language. Now, if that person had told them, oh, I'm aromantic, then they wouldn't put kisses and hearts on there because they listen to what they say. And obviously you might think, well, that's respecting their romantic orientation, right? But putting kisses and hearts on to someone who's a stranger who may be romantic is not respecting them because they're a stranger. It's like, why have you come in my life? You're putting kisses and hearts on my messages, but I don't even know you. How is that respecting me, even if I'm romantic, if I don't know you? Right? It's assuming that I'm going to like that. It's assuming I'm going to be comfortable with that. Some people who are very traditional, for example, or have set boundaries, they don't believe in sending kisses and love hearts to people you don't know or just your friends because they reserve that for a romantic relationship. And actually to do that to someone might be quite very insulting to them, So you've got to understand, I'm very aware of the fact that I'm a hyper romantic, right? And so I'm very aware of the fact that if I have a guy who's heart emoji me and stuff like that, I've got to be careful, what does he want, right? Because at the end of the day, I know that I'm more prone to being affected by that type of thing. Not as much anymore, especially at the moment, because I'm not doing dating or relationship thing, right? So I'm not as affected by it at the moment. I'm usually like now, like, especially because I've had like 4 guys approach me, like I said before, about in the last 3 weeks. I'm more like, I don't get involved with foreign guys anymore abroad. That's it, right? And they try and say stuff. I'm like, I'm just, it's not, you're not suitable for me. We're not suitable for each other. It's like, end of story. Like one guy had bought Gauls the other day to go, oh, I'm coming to London. I'm like, yeah, but I want a long-term relationship. He's just coming for a visit. And he's like, oh, well, you're raising the bar now. It's like, well, no. One is I never asked for a relationship with you. And 2 is if I was interested in a relationship, I've told you it'd be with someone in the UK. A guy already in the UK who can have his own visa and come over here of his own accord. You know what I mean? I don't get involved with guys abroad because they can't come over here. A lot of them lie. There are guys that can come over here from all countries. And what I really hate is when a guy says, oh, but no guy can get over from my country. It's like, well, yes, they can, because I've met them on dating sites. If they can get over here, then so can you. And if you can't get over here, then you're just lying, or you haven't got the funds to do it, or you can never get the funds to do it. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't get the funds to do it, that's not my problem. It doesn't mean to say it's impossible. It just means you are not shifting your butt enough or going to do the right things to get the money to come over here. Because you don't want it bad enough, right? Because you don't really want to be over here. The people that come over here, I am in Indian groups still. I see the amount of money they pay in fees. Like one guy's paying is it 14.5 grand to come and do a course, do a degree in the UK. And I know, like even in my city years ago, I think one of the courses was £17,000, that's just for like 1 year. So a person who loves you, especially without sex, and they really truly love you, they will do whatever it takes to come and be with you, right? They will really want to plan with you. They'll really want to come, and they'll be honest with you. If they can't come over here, they'll say, look, we can't have a relationship. They won't even try and get into a relationship with you, because if they know they can't actually come over here and be with you, that is not love. If they're trying to get you into a relationship with them so that you are hooked on them, so they feel that you're going to help them to come over to your country in the end because you love them so much you couldn't live without them. That's not healthy. That's not love. That's just manipulation. That's just basically saying, I'm hooking you on my heart, hooking you on my emotions, getting you to love me so that then you're going to help me to get over to your country. This is what some foreign guys are like, unfortunately. A guy who really loves the person, he would either do whatever it takes to come over and be with the person, even if it takes years to do it. He would save up the money. He would do 3 different jobs or whatever, you know. But ideally, you'd want to get over with the person as soon as possible. But if he's doing long-term study, he's not going to be able to do that, is he? You know, and so, you know, sometimes you might have to let the person go because, you know, it's like, I can't give you what you want. It's better to let you go than to keep you hanging on, because unhealthy guys or people will keep you hanging on because they want you for their own selfish reasons, not because they actually love you, or they love you but in a toxic way, right? So true love is when you care about the person to such a degree that you want the best for them. You want the best for them in their life. You want the best for them in the relationship. You want them to get the best relationship for them. You want them to be happy. And you can express all these types of loves without the sex. You can show someone you love them and care about them, like I said, by doing things for them, by genuinely caring about them, by wanting the best for their welfare, by, you know, wanting them to be happy, wanting to feel as good as they can possibly feel. You'll be sad and you will be affected when you know, when you care about someone and love them. You're not going to be the type of person that doesn't have any feelings, you know. If something happens, of course you're going to be affected by it. That's part of being in a loving, caring, committed relationship. You worry about the person, you love the person, you want them to be happy, you want them to be well, you want to be there for them, and you shouldn't be the cause of their pain. I mean, you might be sometimes inadvertently, but the majority of the time you shouldn't be the cause of their pain. You should want to help them, to relieve their pain, to have a shoulder to cry on, to have someone who's reliable and stable and who can take care of their heart and emotions. I'm very good at looking after a guy's heart and emotions because I don't go around running after other guys and wanting to get into relationships with those guys. Once I'm in that relationship, I'm very dedicated to that person. Doesn't mean to say I don't have guy friends, because I always will, because most of my friends are guys, you know. But it means that he knows that with me, I'm a very stable and strong person, you know. So love is all about having stability and strength, and about taking care of that person. You can take care of that person emotionally. Obviously, if you've got a physical disability, you might not be able to do much for the other person, or, you know, in terms of physicality. So it's all about emotional support, emotional stability, creating that foundation of trust, and the person can come to you and tell you anything without being judged. Or we all tend to judge a bit, but with having the least amount of judgment possible. Someone who will listen. Sometimes you just want a listening ear, sometimes you just want a hug, sometimes you just want to have someone just accept you for who you are in the situation that you're in, for who you are. You don't even want to be told what to do about it. You just want someone to love you enough to care and say, everything's going to be all right, and I love you, you know, and we're going to be together, and I'm being with you, and I'm loving you, and I'm caring about you, and you're very precious to me, you know. You're very precious to me, you know. So, you know, the same love you have for your pet, you can have a similar or same type of love for a human, but in a different way, you know. So obviously I love Angel, but I'm not, you know, I'm not romantically attracted to Angel or anything like that. I just love her in a very cute way, you know. So it's really important that you know, that you bring out the best in that person, that you love them, care about them, committed to them, that you express you love them. Appreciation as well is a big thing that a lot of people miss out, you know. So with love without sex, one of the main things you can show how you love someone is show you appreciate them, show that you care about them, show that you want them to be in your life, show them, you know, give them the time of day, and take pride and value in the amount of time they give to you and spend with you and be with you, you know. Because if someone's spending a lot of time, energy and effort on you, you shouldn't be taking that for granted. You should be valuing that person, appreciating it, and caring about them and understanding them. This is all how you can love without sex. I hope you've liked this video. I hope you've appreciated it. If you've got any comments, queries or questions, please leave them down below. If I've missed any valuable things out, then please don't forget to comment those, share them. We can all benefit from them in the community. Any ways you want to add to this about how to love without sex. And, you know, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Share it with anyone you think may need to hear this right now. And subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that great big bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. It's bye from me, and it's bye from Angel. We very much enjoyed this Love Without Sex video, and showing you that love is possible without sex. Isn't it great? Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. Take care and lots of love. Subscribe and hit the bell button. Bye from me and Angel. Bye. Lots of love.